Hi folks, the reason I'm putting this video up is just to explain the assessment component of what we're doing this term. I've just got a feeling that some of us aren't quite 100% sure on what we're actually trying to do in terms of our assessment. I think our activities are going really well. People are doing some really good stuff, but what do we do in terms of actually doing the 1.6 achievement standard? So this video is just to give you a few ideas around that and explain exactly what's going on for your assessment, because I think some of us are just on the wrong track a little bit, and our reflections aren't as good as they could be. So I'll just give you an overall rundown on what the assessment's about. Then obviously if you have any questions you can just ask. So as you're aware, basically it runs, the whole thing runs kind of like this, right? We come up with a bit of a plan, we do it, we reflect, we plan again, we do it, we reflect, we do that over and over again, and then at the very end we evaluate. So I think our planning and doing is going really well at the moment, but I'm just not 100% confident that our reflections are as good as they could be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk through what the reflections are supposed to be and roughly what they look like. If you don't get it the first time, rewind, have another listen, look at the diagrams. Then if you're still a little bit confused, please ask me in our next class. So I'm just going to come a little bit closer, which is a little bit risky, and I'll explain it in detail. So what we need to do for our reflection is we need to reflect on both of our strategies. So as you know, technique must be one of the strategies, and then you choose between massed versus distributed or knowledge of tactics and strategies. Okay. Now some of you are doing massed and distributed, and some of you are doing tactics and strategies. That's fine. It's totally up to you what you want to do. Okay. So when you do your reflections, you've got to think about the following questions. All right. So what are you doing to improve your technique? You break it up into two things. All right. So for technique, what are you doing to improve? Be nice and specific. So for example, you might be thinking with let's say badminton, you're talking about the grip, how you grip a racket when you're swinging a backhand, why you're doing this and how it will help your overall performance. So why are you actually focusing on this technique? What will it do to make you better? Is it useful, and how do you know? So you have a look and you think, alright, I did whatever it is, and is it any good? Is it going to have a positive impact on my performance? And where to now? So what do you need to focus on for next time? Alright, so you're looking at what you've done, and you're planning ahead. You're thinking, you know what, next lesson or next practical I'm going to be doing, this, that, or whatever else. Okay, and then knowledge of tactics and strategies, or massed versus distributed, is largely the same. Alright, so what are you doing to improve whichever one you've chosen? Okay, so let's say massed versus distributed. What are you doing to improve? You might have chosen distributed practice, and then just explain why. And then why and how will it help your performance? So why is doing whatever of the above, how will it help your overall performance? Is it working, and how can you tell? So is it any good, more or less, and how can you tell? So you might be like, okay, I'm doing massed practice for my serve. Is it working? Yes, it's working because I'm getting really consistent serves or something like that. And then where to now, what next? Alright, so this is how you do your reflections. Okay, it's really important that we're nice and detailed with our reflections, and that we're not just writing, today we did today we did some passing and it was really good. Okay, that's just not specific enough. And when you think about it, the more detailed this stuff is, the easier your evaluations will be at the end of the unit. Okay, so please, when you do your reflections this week, have a think about these questions here. If you can't remember them, then ask me at school, and I'll explain them to you. But if you're still a little bit confused, watch this again. It's only 4 minutes of your time, and hopefully it'll give you a fair idea of what we're after. Also, if you're still confused and you want a copy of this, take a screenshot now, just before I turn it off. Alright, and these are the questions that you're going to ask. What I'm going to do now is stop this video, and I'm going to make another one on evaluations. So once we do our evaluation segment, hopefully you've got an idea of what the assessment's all about and where to go from here.